if you are living in the Western world, you're going to want to watch this video because our good old friends at the news are not actually talking about what's really going down. And let me tell y'all, you might call me a conspiracy theorist, you might think I'm crazy, but this video might just be your one opportunity to actually see what's about to happen before it starts to happen, because ladies and gentlemen, it's already happening, and we're going to be talking about that today because the Western world is going to crumble. It's about to crumble and it's about to crush the majority of the population. And I want to talk about what's going to happen. I'm going to talk about what led to this and why it's very important that we stop listening to the freaking mainstream media. Stop believing liars. Stop being so quick to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, that's a because let me tell you something. Before everything happens, there is always a lead up to stuff that takes place. Oh, yes. And some of the stuff that's going to happen, some of the things that are affecting some of you directly, like these energy prices and the thises and the that's, right? It's affecting you already. And you're wondering why this is happening to you. Well, if you were listening to some of the people like myself online trying to talk about some stuff, you might already know that this was coming. You might have actually been able to prevent it from happening. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, if you enjoy this video, if you like my vibe, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like the video as well. And big special shout out to all my current subscribers and even the new subscribers. I know, as I gave you guys a little update in my previous videos, in my second to last video, just about what's going on, where I haven't really been posting. And I really appreciate the responses that I got from you guys. I really appreciate your understanding, because y'all got my back and y'all understand that sometimes I'm just not here to make videos for the sake of it. I'm here to make videos that matter. You know what I mean? Like, real videos matter. Real videos matter. Truth matters, right? Anyway, so just bear with me a second. Woo. So yes, guys, I was just catching up on real life news of what's going on, and I was hearing that there's a lot going down, especially in Europe, that nobody's talking about because of the issue now of us not having gas, electricity, energy, and all this stuff. Because, well, I'm going to break this down for you guys. Hold on, let me just adjust this because it doesn't look straight. I'm going to break this down for you guys, right? We had this whole Russia-Ukraine situation, right? The Russia-Ukraine situation. And it was put forth to us that we must sanction Russia and we must do this because Vladimir Putin is Satan and he's trying to start a world war and he's trying to destroy the people. Well, there's a little issue with that. There's a little issue that's been created here. And that issue is now a lot of Western countries are not getting in the supply of materials that they were getting in from Russia, right? Because they've sanctioned Russia to the extent where we're looking at an energy crisis, a gas crisis, oil, all this stuff, right? In the Western society, Russia is over there burning fuels. You know why? They've got such an excess. They've got tens of millions of excess that they're just burning it because they have nowhere to put it, because normally they would be trading with our countries, which would mean that our countries wouldn't be having these shortages, but now they can't. And so Russia's actually doing better. Russia's actually way better off as a result of this whole debacle. The Western countries have been sending billions and millions into Ukraine to create this crisis. So now all the money that could have been spent helping rectify and help the people, right, has already been sent into Ukraine, and the whole Ukraine thing is what's actually causing the problem in the first place. Now, I'm just stating to you what's happening, the facts. Go and look them out for yourself. The real facts, okay? Go look out the facts for yourself. Even the BBC was saying how there's been soot and blah, blah, blah seen in the skies of, and the skies coming from Russia, blah, 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 as if to make them look bad, like they're just burning stuff. They're burning the excess stuff that they can't send to us Western countries because we all decided that we wanted to put sanctions on Russia because Russia is the bad guys here. Well, I'm going to present another argument to the table, because isn't it interesting how whatever happens in this world, I find a few things interesting. For example, we're having an energy crisis. We're global warming, right? But people will say global warming, oh, you should give up. We should stop having our fruits and vegetables and stuff in plastics, and we should be able to just go and pick them freely. I love that. I'm clapping for that. I'm for that. I love that. I love when I can go, and I actually think it's better for us because now people can buy how much you want. Maybe you don't want 6 tomatoes. Maybe you want 4 tomatoes. Maybe you want whatever. You can go and measure them for yourself, and I think it's all wholesome and it's all great. But we don't want to talk about the fact that people are still ordering like tons and tons of boxes from Amazon every day. So you got the boxes that you're getting, which, yeah, they might be recyclable, okay, but let's not forget to talk about all the places around the world that all this stuff is coming from, because you can order stuff that comes from all over the world. That's all these fuels, all this everything. We're not talking about that, are we? No, because why? Because we as society, as humanity, we are selfish and we just do what we want. So yes, when it comes to the plastics in supermarket, a problem that the supermarket needs to sort out, we can point our finger at them. We love to support that, don't we? We love to say, oh, you guys need to change this. But when it comes to us and our habits, like, oh wait, don't tell me I can't order from Amazon every day if I want to. Don't tell me I can't. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is how that behavior, those mentalities, the government and all these people, they use this type of stuff against us. The fact, our selfishness and our lack of comfortability in our own lives, this is how we end up in these situations. We get manipulated from them, because it's them who do the manipulation, mind you, right? Like even on Amazon, I'm talking about Amazon. It was this whole Ukraine situation. I talked about this before. They were actually justifying supporting a Nazi group in Ukraine. Most people don't know this, I don't think. And you can go and find the facts and figures for yourself, guys. It's not just hearsay. It's just not my feelings. This is what's really out there. They were supporting to the extent that even Amazon started to sell the neo-Nazi merchandise, because there was a neo-Nazi group in Ukraine who was supporting the military of the government. And then so because they were supporting them going against Vladimir Putin, the problem here, right? They's justified now that, oh, now you can buy all this Nazi merch, blah 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 online. Like, do you see, guys? Did you guys see how this makes sense? And then Joe Biden has the cheek to like make out like, oh, well, we want Vladimir Putin to surrender. Why would he surrender? He's actually better off. You're not trading with him. He's got a whole bunch of stuff everybody needs. He's now sorted out his own whole aviation system over there as well. So now they've cut us out, and it's actually made the aviation industry even more difficult, because now routes that used to fly over Russia, which is a big place, by the way, cannot access as easily their flight paths. So flight paths have had to change going towards that side of the world. And what is this all working towards? It's the Western society creating an opportunity for China. Can you guys not see this? I talked about this before. China is the one who supplies fentanyl in the United States. China saw what Facebook and Instagram was doing, created TikTok. Can we not see what's happening? China for years have been creating soldiers, have been pushing communism, which is the undertone of a lot of these social action things out there. Even the Black Lives Matter people. How many times did I tell you guys this? The founders of Black Lives Matter believed in communism. They were reading books on communism, right? A lot of what they're trying to push is communism. Even the government, this whole World Health Organization nonsense, or is it the World Economic Forum? One of these W somethings, right, was saying, and I talked about this in a previous video, you'll own nothing and you'll love it. That sounds like communism. And why do I tell you guys that this stuff is a problem? Because there's going to be somebody who's sitting on top, or a group of people sitting on top, and they get to just dictate what everybody else gets to do. And the more and more we give up of our control, right? And I'm going to circle this back to the energy crisis in just a second. But the more and more we give up our control, the more and more we rely on them, the more and more power they have in our lives. And a world where God created for us as human beings, each individually, to have free will, right? That should be respected, and dominion. We give that up to somebody else, and then all we have to blame is ourselves for being ignorant and for not listening to people, because they sounded like a conspiracy theorist and they only had a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube, and they didn't sound like they did this, and they didn't look this way, and they didn't dress this way. And so we're not going to listen to them. We're going to listen to the news, because it's not like the people on the news, it's not like the big corporations have something to get out of lying to us. Think about it like this, guys. So much of the ways that we rely on the government and all these people, this is one of the reasons why, guys, I've not really been posting videos, because I can't really think about anything apart from this right now because of how crazy it's getting. Sorry. It's hard for me to think about a lot of other things right now, because people are suffering. There are people sleeping in cars in Poland. They're saying it's going to be potentially the coldest winter ever. The problem is these energy issues are going to cause us to not be able to, have heating in houses. This is going to be a huge crisis. People's energy bills are skyrocketing unbelievably right now, and they're due to go even higher. I think in a week they went up by like 300. They went up by like, I don't know how many times. I say all this to say, guys, what we have done is we continue to give away the free will that God gave us, right? We continue to use that to give away our power to other people, and then when when that backfires on us, we're shocked as to how we got here. I'll give you guys an example, right? I was having this conversation with somebody about water and how we pay for water. And I was thinking about this because I was looking at this girl on YouTube yesterday, I think, or the day before. Not on YouTube, on Instagram. And she has, she runs an orphanage herself, where by the way, she's like 23. Like, she's so young. I was like, whoa, sis is even younger than me. I assume she'd at least be older than me. But she runs an orphanage, where she's got, I think, currently 37 children and 4 grandchildren. And she was talking about how her and the ladies, she's in Africa somewhere, I'm not sure which country. Her and all the ladies, they take all the clothes and they go down to the well to wash the clothes because the water is expensive. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about how that water is an expense, right? And how did we get there? Because something that God created for to be free for us, because he created all the things that we need, he created free. That's why the food and everything we need, the plants, the animals, they're just freely roaming. If you leave them to themselves and you don't mess around with them, which we do, we a lot of the time are the ones going around killing creatures like a lot of people did in the UK. That's why the UK doesn't have as much wildlife as a lot of the other countries in the world, because they went around killing all of them, right? But you leave wildlife to do its thing, and then before you know it, you've got chickens, you've got eggs, you've got beef, you've got fish, you've got, plants, you've got potatoes, you've got apples, whatever it is, right? Happily, freely growing, freely on the earth that God created for you, right? You've got water, all these massive bodies of water and all these different things freely created that God created for you. Even having a child is free, guys. Having a child is free. But why don't we have those things? Like, think about it. Even the materials you need technically to build are free, because you can go out there and you can go and grab your own stones, you can go and cut your own sticks, make yourself a little wooden hut. If you know how you can start to mix materials and create bricks and all these types of things, or maybe use stones like people did historically. So the things that we need in life to survive, this is why I believe that God really does provide for us, right? And he gives us free will, but we give that free will away. Why is that now? Now we pay for things like water. Now we have to go to the supermarket for vegetables, and we get upset when the prices are going up. Like, you don't have a garden. Like, every time you're not the one cutting the seeds out of your fruit and vegetables and throwing it in the bin. Go and plant that in your garden. There you go. You're starting to grow your own stuff. Before you know it, you've got potatoes. Before you know it, you've got this, you've got that. Build a little chicken coop. Go and grab some eggs. Get some eggs, incubate them, have yourself a little chicken coop in your garden. Do you know what I mean? Start doing some stuff for yourself, for goodness sake. But we don't do that. We hand all the power over to the government, and then when this stuff like these energy crises come along, we're like, oh no, what do we do? Well, we could have been working on this stuff ourselves. I was researching how much it costs to build a well in the United States. It costs $10,000 about to build a well in the United States. Oh. It costs about £10,000 dollars to build a well in the United States. Isn't that something that you could have been thinking about saving? If you were thinking like somebody who wanted to have control over your life, that's something you could have been planning from before, right? That's something you could have been planning from before. Stuff like having your own electricity generators, building your own solar panels, all these different types of things. These are the things I've been thinking about the last couple of years, by the way, guys. And I've been like, because I'm like, the more these people are trying to get me to rely on them, the more I'm trying to rely on the Lord and the things that the Lord gave me, right? Not trying to rely on you people more and like, oh, well, we can't afford this. Because do you know what's going to happen? And this is how they roll out their plans, guys. They're getting us to the weakened state. And I've said this from the beginning. There is a video you guys can see from like before I even changed this channel to be called Queendom TV. And all these literally over 500 videos that I've posted since it's become Queendom TV, right? There is a video you can find where I talked about how this stuff was going to happen, right? And what was I saying? Now they're using this to usher in this very demonic new world order. I know people don't like to hear that, but that's what's happening, because then what happens, we're going to be in a weak enough state where we're desperate enough. We don't have a plan B. We don't have a garden. We don't have solar panels. We don't have a well. We don't have electricity generators. We don't have any of that. We don't know how to educate our own children. We don't know how to do anything. And then they're going to offer us everything on a silver platter. Like, by the way, as long as you give up the rights to your house, the right to this, the right to that, the right to that, we're going to make sure you have somewhere to live, food to eat, money to this. We're going to just send you money. That's what they're going to do. You know why? Because none of this was ever about money or anything like that. It's about the fact that there is a demonic assignment to destroy humanity and to take control of this world. That is what is going on. That's why this stuff, guys, it doesn't matter. If it was just about money, These people have money. Listen, in the Western world, in places like the United States and the United Kingdom and stuff, where people just printing money, printing. The gold standard flew out the door. I think it was in 1971. They just print money when they need it. And in fact, so much so that certain countries, here's another thing you guys wouldn't know, certain countries in the world have decided they don't want to trade their materials with some of these Western currencies, because these Western currencies don't mean anything. Because one day they're just printing money as whatever. The money is no longer translating into gold. So before you know it, even some of you who think you're so smart with your little savings accounts, right, and all these things, that money could become meaningless overnight, potentially, in a very short space of time, in these types of times that we're living in. And that's why a lot of people who are actually awake, not woke, have been buying gold. Hello? Actual real currency that they can share. Because this is one thing I have to stress. If you're living in the Western world, I hope you're still watching this video. And if you are still watching this video, please put in the comments, hashtag Western world, hashtag WW. Just put hashtag WW if you're still watching this video. Because I'm speaking facts to you today that you needed to hear. And praise the Lord, right? But some of you, the thing is with the Western world is the Western world has become super arrogant, and they've done this on purpose. They make us who live in the Western world super arrogant, so then we think that we're so on top of things, but in reality we're indebted to the rest of the world a lot. We get a lot of our materials, a lot of our trade. This is why the likes of places like Russia and China have always been so powerful, because so many countries are in debt to China. How many things do you have that say made in China? If China decides in one day that they've got enough money and they don't care to make stuff for us anymore, we could be screwed. The same way that we're now being screwed because of cutting off Russia. And by the way, remember when Donald Trump was saying we need to start making more of our own fuels in America? We need to, I think it was it fracking? I think it was fracking. And people were like, no, we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, guess what? If you'd done that like 4 years ago, however long it was when he was saying this, then maybe America wouldn't be facing this crisis that's coming along right now. But nobody wanted to listen because we're too busy listening to the freaking lying, deceptive media. You're too busy listening to the comfortable things. You don't want to go outside the boundaries. You don't want to go outside your comfort zone. You want to sit in your comfort zone. You want to sit in willful ignorance. I'm going to upload that video. I haven't uploaded it, but I'm going to upload that video. You want to sit in willful ignorance where you can sense deep down something is off, but you don't want to address it. But the thing is, I've said this to you guys before. People look at somebody like myself and they think, oh, this girl, she just loves to have an issue about everything, to talk about everything. No, it's not like that, guys. It's the fact that I care about you guys, and I care about myself and the people I love. And I know that God cares about us. So he gives us, no matter what is coming, no matter what is happening, there is always ways to go around what is happening. But it's whether we are prepared to take our God-given right, free will, dominion and power that he gave us on earth to do that, or whether we're going to just sit here like sitting ducks, like we're not in the middle of a battle. And that's the difference. That's what people don't understand. I wish I didn't have to make these videos, but I am, because who else is talking up? There's not many people speaking up about this stuff because people don't want to think about it. But guess what? It's always the people who don't want to think about it who get hurt the worst, because it'll be people like me who'll be like, yeah, I knew this was coming, and I was ready, right? Even when the Rona came along, I knew something was coming in 2019. You can ask people around me, I could sense it. And I realized now that it was God saying something. I could just feel something was coming. And when it did come, because I wasn't reliant, because I had made decisions against what a lot of people thought I should have done, I protected myself. So when the Rona came along, I was fine. I wasn't stressing me out. I wasn't in shock. It was nothing like that. I was like, okay, cool, this is what's happening. So what now, Lord? What's going on? And from there, that's how it was. So this is why I just want to clarify that this is why I talk about this stuff. But it's important now because things are going to get crazy and things are going to get wild. And this is stuff we should have been thinking, we should have been planning for, we should have been listening to from years ago, to be honest with you. But now, while you can, if I were you, now is the time to really wise up, fix up, and snap out of it. Snap out of believing. You might need to go ahead and go and buy yourself, here's some great advice. Go buy yourself a deep freezer if you can afford it. Buy yourself a deep freezer. If I were you, I would stock up on food. Let's just put that there. Let's just put that out there. If I were you, I would go buy a generator. If I were you, I would get some solar panels and see if you can install some kind of a solar system. If I were you, I'd build a chicken coop. Okay, let's just put that out there. And I won't even get into more as to why I'm suggesting all of that. But there are a lot of crises coming. Not just the heat, but also the famine. There's already been so much issues with food and stuff like this. This is all happening on purpose because these rich people, they're prepared for this stuff. They've got all the money. They're not worried because they have enough money that whatever happens, they know what they're doing. This is the thing. this is one trick the media does so well, I have to say. One trick the media does so well, and the governments, is they talk about stuff as if they also didn't know this was coming, but they actually are the ones who are making it happen. Like I told you guys with the whole China thing, people, what is going to happen is China is essentially, I feel like the Western governments, the people who are currently sitting in offices in the Western governments, are preparing Western societies to be vulnerable to China, right? And I'll tell you another thing, another fact. Did you know that there's hundreds of thousands of American dollars being paid into Chinese propaganda? Well, sorry, hundreds of thousands of American dollars paid for the Wuhan labs, by the way, where, yes, this thingamabobby that's happening started from. Go and do the research. Don't go and check CNN, and don't go on Google. Go search on DuckDuckGo and go look for yourself, right? Not only that, did you know that Chinese media pays to be in China pays for to have their Chinese propaganda in normal US media? Did you know that? Bet you didn't know that. But these are all things you can go and find. And you know what? That's exactly why. That's how it works. And I tell you guys this all the time. I tell you guys things in the factual terms, and then I give you the spiritual element to it, so that I'm more doing it to prove the spiritual element than I'm doing it to prove the facts. Does that make sense? So the purposes of this stuff, right, is then what happens is you can never tell God. I'm going to tell you guys this. You can't say you didn't have the opportunity to research stuff for yourself, right? Because let me tell you something, no matter what dark forces, no Bill Gates, no Satan, no devil in hell, right, can take away your free will that God gave to you. The only thing they can do is manipulate how you use it for what they want. And I talked about this in my media playlist. If you haven't watched that already, where the heck you been? Go and check out my media playlist. And in there I talk about stage democracy, where they make us feel like, yes, you have the vote, and it's your vote that counts, and every vote counts. That's 100% true. That part is true. But as we know, with the kingdom of darkness, there's always the lie in there. And the little lie part is, but we're going to control the way you think, so we control the way you vote. Right? And so you walk in there all gung-ho, I'm voting for so-and-so to be president. I'm voting for so-and-so to be prime minister because I can, because I have the right. And I have been told I can say what I need to say, right? When in reality, you don't realize that what you think, you've already been controlled at that level. And that's why it's important for me to speak up and say stuff. And I know I don't get really that much support for the stuff that I say and the stuff that I do. And that's okay, guys. Listen, the truth is uncomfortable. Like I say, the truth hurts. The truth is uncomfortable and the truth hurts. I would love to be telling you guys a message of like, don't worry guys, just continue things as usual in your comfort zone, trusting the government and trusting media. And all this stuff the conspiracy theorists just saying, they're probably just overthinking it. It's fine. You're going to be fine. Everything's fine. But I would be lying. I care enough about you guys to tell you the truth. I care enough about you guys that I will say this stuff, potentially be wrong, and I probably have been wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm a human being. I'm imperfect. I'd rather say stuff, and even if 50% of what I've said, or 20%, or 1% of what I've said is truthful, and it helps you in a overwhelming way, if even the only take home you have from this is, I'm going to start planting my own fruits and vegetables, right? And then a famine comes and maybe you can't have that ribeye steak and all this stuff you like, but you can make yourself some good stuff because you got a couple of vegetables growing in your garden, then I've done my job. If I say this and you decide to buy an electricity generator and all of a sudden one day the electricity just blows out, you live by yourself, but you'd bought a generator, you completely forgot you even had it, and now you can at least connect to it long enough that you can work out how you're going to go and stay with one of your family members or one of your friends, so at least you're not by yourself during all this stuff, then I've done my job. But more than that, guys, it's for you to understand that we are not, the gone are the days. I think it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye to the old seasons of life where we just went, when the Rona came along, that in that moment, we took a big pivot. We took a pivot in a completely different direction. I.e., the kingdom of darkness decided, you know what, now we can go to the next level, and the people are dumb enough and stupid enough and willfully ignorant enough and emotional enough and woke enough and traumatized enough, because we've been traumatizing them as well, and broke enough and broken enough and broken down enough that now we can go and do what we're doing even more boldly, with our chests open, with our peacock feathers spread, and they can't stop us, because they don't even realize they have the power to do anything. And that's why I'm saying this stuff to you guys. That's why it was important for me to talk about this, because I'm telling you, the rate we're going, China is making its way. The communism, this is how they're preparing the way for communism. This is how they're doing it. You get lied to all the time by the government, the media, and all these people. They don't have your best interest at heart. They don't care about you. I always use this example, and I'll use it again. Growing up mostly in the United Kingdom. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Growing up mostly in the United Kingdom, I used to think about the reason why I don't even talk about racism anymore, and I'll tell you guys why. I will tell you guys why. I have to get more of a personal experience as far as the United States, right? But in the UK, I used to think of the racism stuff as like, oh, you know, the government doesn't care about black people, blah blah blah. But then I used to watch all of these documentaries that they make of like poor parts in the UK, and I noticed that, wait a minute, they treat their own just the same as any of the rest of us, the same as us immigrants, the white people, the whoever's, their own people they treat like dirt, their own people they take advantage of, their own people they treat unfairly. So that's why I don't even comment about that. I realize these issues are so much bigger, but what they do is they get us all upset about whatever thing relates to us, whatever wound we have. If you're a woman and you were severely wounded by a man, then you probably find yourself in extreme feminism. If you're a man and you've been extremely wounded by a woman, you probably find yourself in the red pill community, right? If you're a member of the LGBTQ plus and your parents growing up were a very conservative Christian family, you probably find yourself hating Christians and extreme in your LGBTQ beliefs, right? We're always being hit in areas where we have a trauma or something we can hold on to, right? If you're black and your ancestors were slaves, that's the trauma point. Why do you think they keep reminding us of being slaves? Like, I thought about this in school, in history, when we learn about black history, and I've learned a lot about black history since school, and like the slavery portion of it is an important part, but there are so many other cool bits of history. Why are they reminding us that we're slaves, that we were slaves? Why are they reminding us about that? Because they want you to be upset about it, because they want to cause the uncomfortability between you and the other people that you're around. And I remember having these types of feelings amongst how awkward it would be when this type of stuff would come up in school, because like the white people are trying to like not be too like, you know, trying to be understanding. The black people are just feeling like, oh, I don't even know what to do, like this is the only history we're talking about and this is awkward. And it's just awkward. Why do they do that? Because these are all creating these little trigger points, these little traumas. That's why real true healing is like the thing they want the least for us to go through. Because as soon as you start to have true healing, not this fake like, I wake up at 6 in the morning and then I make myself a matcha chai latte and then I meditate for 30 minutes and then I journal and then blah 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 blah. 2 weeks later, so my anxiety attacks have come back again. I think I just need to take a week off and go to a yoga retreat, and then you just spend your whole life chasing after this fake healing that ain't healing nothing, right? And that's why I believe the world needs Jesus. That's why I believe the world needs Jesus, because right now what's going on is too crazy. It's too crazy and it's too wild, and we need to call a spade, and we need to find the real solutions that bring real answers, not these things that a lot of the times they profit off of anyway, if we're being honest. But anyways, I've spoken enough. I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I'm not sure what my future videos are going to be like. I'm on a whole new I don't know where I'm at going with my videos, but I will be removing the term conspiracy theorist out of my bio, let me tell you that much, because it's official. So much of the stuff that I said, so much of the stuff other conspiracy theorists have said is true, and I think we deserve the respect and the acknowledgement that we tried to warn y'all about a lot of stuff that's now affecting you, now upsetting you, and now you're wondering what to do. It's okay. We've all been there. We've all been in that position. But let's now, before things get even crazier, let's all of us, including me, take the time to do some real research and reevaluate. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much to everybody who watches. You guys know I appreciate it so much. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like I said. Other than that, guys, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.